My ship's navigation simply vanished. One moment, Saturn's rings were a distant jewel. The next, a black expanse of nothing stretched before me. I was adrift, light years from home, hearing strange whispers in the void. My name is Kalen, and this is my log entry, Cycle 73, Standard Earth Time. I was a cargo pilot, nothing glamorous. Just hauling vital resources from the inner colonies to the mining outposts on Titan, one of Saturn's moons. Routine, predictable, the kind of life that makes you appreciate the quiet hum of your ship, the distant stars. But on my last run, something went wrong. A sudden energy surge, a ripple in the space-time continuum, something the nav comp just called Anomaly 7b. One moment I was plotting a course past Jupiter, sipping my recycled synth coffee. The next, my entire star chart was blank. The stars outside my viewport were different. Unfamiliar constellations, cold and ancient. I was alone, lost. Light years off course, stranded in a silent sector of space unmarked on any map. My comms were useless, just a hiss of static. For weeks, it was just me and the endless black. The silence was the worst part, a suffocating blanket that pressed down on my mind. I rationed my supplies, kept the ship on minimal power. I thought I was losing my mind. The power fluctuations began first, flickering lights, systems failing and rebooting without input. Then the sounds. Faint whispers on the comm system, just static at first, but it sounded like voices, like 1,000 lost souls crying out. I tried to dismiss it, blaming fatigue, isolation, but then I saw it. On the scanner, a faint, impossible signature, too large for an asteroid, too complex for natural phenomena. It wasn't organic, but it wasn't artificial in any way I understood. It was a structure, vast and ancient, drifting silently in the void. It wasn't built by anything I knew. It looked like impossible geometry, twisting spires that defied gravity, shimmering with a faint, dark energy, a black hole in solid form. I wasn't alone, and whatever had built this was not friendly. Driven by a desperate need for answers, I pushed my crippled ship closer to the colossal structure. It seemed to absorb light, an abyss within the abyss. As I approached, the whispers on my comms grew clearer, no longer static. They were voices, a chorus of ancient, suffering minds, speaking in a language I couldn't comprehend. Yet somehow, the pure dread woven into every syllable resonated deep within my soul. The structure itself hummed with a low, resonant thrum that vibrated through my ship's hull, through my very bones, making my teeth ache. I knew I shouldn't be here. This place was a tomb, a prison, a forgotten monument to some cosmic horror. My ship's systems started failing rapidly. The lights strobed, the life support flickered. Then a new signal. A direct neural interface, bypassing all my firewalls, piercing through my skull like an ice pick. A voice, clear as day, but not in my ears, in my mind. It spoke my name. It spoke of my life, my fears, my deepest, most shameful memories. It knew things no one could know. It was not just observing. It was inside my consciousness, stripping away every layer of my being. It showed me fleeting, horrific images. Alien beings with too many limbs, eyes that saw dimensions beyond our own, worlds consumed by an unending hunger, screams of dying civilizations echoing in its vast memory. My reality began to fray. I wasn't just lost. I was found by something truly ancient, something that had been waiting for untold eons. And it wasn't curious. It was assessing. It was hungry. It wasn't a ghost. It was a cosmic predator, a mind-eater, and I was its prey. The mental intrusion intensified. The entity, whatever it was no longer just showing me images. It was trying to reconstruct me, to understand humanity by breaking down my mind, piece by agonizing piece. It was a violation beyond anything I could have imagined. My thoughts were no longer my own. They were twisted, distorted, replayed back to me with a cruel, alien mockery. I fought back, screaming in the void of my own thoughts, struggling against the alien intelligence that sought to devour my very essence. I had to get away. I had to. I pushed my ship to its limits, diverting all auxiliary power to the thrusters, desperate to break free from the gravitational pull of that nightmare structure. As I struggled, a new visual emerged on my main viewport. From the depths of the impossible structure, vast, shadowy forms began to detach themselves. They were immense, silent, moving with a grace that defied their size, yet their intention was clear: capture. They were living things, creatures of the void, with eyes that glowed with a cold, malevolent light. They were coming for me. My ship's alarm blared, screaming critical failure. I knew I couldn't outrun them in this crippled vessel. But then, amidst the chaos, a faint, almost imperceptible signal pierced through the psychic noise of the entity. Not a voice, but a feeling, a warmth, a sense of direction. It was incredibly weak, like a dying star's last flicker, but it was human. It was from a distress beacon, ancient, barely clinging to existence. But it was there, pointing away from the structure, towards a faint, almost invisible nebula in the distance. A long shot, a desperate gamble, but it was hope. I ignored the mental screams of the entity, the physical strain on my ship. I pointed my bow towards that flickering beacon and engaged the FTL drive, not knowing where I was going, only that I had to go. The mental voice roared in my mind, a vow delivered not in words, but in pure, unfiltered intent.
You will not escape. Your kind will be known. Your stars will fall.
My ship jumped, tearing through space-time, leaving the monstrous structure and its dark denizens behind. I don't know if I truly escaped, or if I simply carried a piece of that void, a piece of them, back into the living universe. My ship is heavily damaged, my mind is fractured, but the distress beacon is growing stronger. It's leading me somewhere, a place of refuge, or perhaps another trap. I am still adrift, but I am not alone in this terrifying sector. I found cosmic horror, yes, but I also found a faint signal, a proof that there might be others out here fighting against the same darkness. And if there's one other human voice in this endless, terrifying void, then perhaps humanity still has a chance. We faced something that devoured worlds, and I, a simple cargo pilot, may have found the key to fighting back. My log continues. Humanity will not fall quietly.